LeetCode problems. The only difference for this time is that from now on, I'm gonna use Java to solve LeetCode problems. So I solved a lot of LeetCode problems by using Python, but this time I'm gonna pick up the language of Java. So I'm new to Java, so maybe I'm gonna make a mistake. But the idea is to learn the algorithms. So the first one is two-sum. So we are getting an array of nums and we are getting a target. So we just need to find two numbers. The value of the sum of the two numbers is gonna equal to the target. So we're gonna use an ON solution, and we're gonna use the hash table to solve the problems. Yeah. So if we can put a number, so for example, if we can put a number inside the hash table, so for example, we're gonna put a number 2 inside the hash table, and for this number, it's gonna have an index 0. So now, if we find another number, which is 7, yeah, because the idea is that if we find those two numbers are gonna have the different index. It cannot be the same index. Yeah, because you may not use the same element twice. So this is why if we are using a hash table, we can directly avoid the duplicate problem. Yeah. So if we find a number 2, we're gonna directly put it inside this hash table, and it's gonna have an index 0. Next, we're gonna find a number 7. So if we directly find this number 7, definitely it is not inside this hash table, but we're gonna use the target minus this 7. So 9 minus 7 is gonna be 2. We're gonna check if this number 2 is inside this hash table. If this number 2 is inside this hash table, this means we find our previous index, which is 0. And what about our current index, which is 1? So this means we can directly return the index of 0 and 1 as the final result. Yeah. So we're gonna define an interface. So we're gonna define a map, the interface of the Java, which is gonna be the integer and integer of a map. And we're gonna new hash map. Now we're gonna loop through the array nums. So for integer I equal to 0, I gonna less than the length of the nums, and I plus plus. Now we're gonna find this number result, which is gonna equal to the target minus the nums I. Now we want to check if this number result is inside the hash map. So we're gonna use if a map dot we're gonna use contains. And we're gonna use contains k the result. So if it is inside, we can directly return the result. We're gonna new integer, and inside it's gonna be those two elements. So the element gonna be the map dot get. We're gonna get the result, which means we find this previous index and the current index. Yeah. But if we didn't find it, we're gonna put it inside. So we're gonna use the map.put, which is also a method of Java. So we know it has a contains k for this map, and it also has the put method. Yeah, contains k is just to check if this k is inside the map. If it is inside, we're gonna have a return. If it's not inside, we're gonna put the k and value pair. So the k gonna be the nums I, and the value gonna be I. But for Java, we have a public method, and the type is an integer array. So this means finally we need to return an integer array if we didn't find the such cases. In Python we don't need to do that, but in Java we need to return the type, which is gonna be an integer array. So it's gonna be an integer array 0. This means it is an empty integer array. Yeah. I think this is about it. Let me just check if it works, or maybe mistakes. So the return type, it should be an integer array. So what is wrong? Let me think about it. Should be like this. error class expected. Yeah, it should be a class of integer array. Yeah, this is why I'm new to Java and I may make the mistakes. It should be a class, so we need to return a new of integer array. Yeah, now it seems works. Let me just submit it. Yeah, as you can see, it works and it's pretty fast and passed all the testing cases because this is an ON solution. We just use one for loop because we used the hash table. So the time complexity is ON and the space complexity is ON as well because we used the space to reduce the time. I think that's all about it.